Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'Em Out book and training series and lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC. For this year, 2023, 2024, it becomes where schools have to figure out what they're going to do about school discipline. I'm calling this series, this little short videos, training videos for school management, leadership, help with discipline for school administrators only. If you're a school administrator and you have had difficulty with behavior, well, there's tens of thousands of us experiencing behavior that we've never seen. Now, it looks different, but it's the same. There is trends of behavior going on around the country. And so now it's going to require more comprehensive levels of discipline education. I had a dear friend of mine, who's a friend of mine now, but I can remember he called a couple of years ago, and he said he needed help with discipline at his school. Listen to what he said. He said, I remember you saying at a conference that you got to know which discipline models work for your population. As a behavior specialist, the thing that I always lock in on, we're very quick to say something doesn't work. That is not what that's not how I do things. There are behavior programs, behavior modification. So you're talking about things like PBIS, which is worldwide, people know. And so people ask me, does PBIS work? Absolutely. Sound research, it works. However, will it work at your school? Does it work in your trauma zone? Does it work with the population you have? And the only person who would know that is the school leader. That's why we're having this series of short video trainings for you to be able to identify that. So it's one of the first things that I want you to be able to do is to understand what is going on in my community. Why is the behavior getting worse? Well, typically when you see the behavior get worse, it's going to be that the community and the home dynamics in which our kids are coming from is changing the value on home conduct. So if you work in a trauma zone, like many of my school administrators, where that the community is laden with trauma, what you're going to see is there is a very clear connection between negative behavior and trauma for adults and children. So that means that one in one of these trauma zones has to become a master of understanding the community, my workforce, trauma resolution, and proper approach. Unfortunately, what we like to do is we mismanage trauma so often. And remember this, if I mismanage a kid's trauma, for example, a kid the other day cussed the teacher out and was like, bleep, I'll bleep you, and bleep, bleep, bleep. Totally over the line. This is not what I said, profanity and everything. No, totally over the line, physically aggressive and threatening. I was there. So no one told me this. Over the line, we don't do that here. And the first thing that started coming out of my education colleagues' mouth was, the kids got a lot going on at home. But let me tell you something, my brothers and sisters. What you just set yourself up right there is trauma mismanagement. What's going to happen is, notice what I said. This is not a case of where a kid is using profanity. No, the kid is verbally assaulting someone, an adult, an authority figure. Bleep you, I'ma bleep you up. I have my mother come over, bleep, bleep, bleep. So now there's assaults and threats. Now notice that difference, because see, I was the one that said in Don't Kick 'Em Out as the behavior guru. I said if a kid is cursing, and I wrote that 15 years ago, if the kid is cursing, we can manage that profanity with an approach. That's not profanity. That is verbal aggression and verbal assault toward a person. Like literally, I'm gonna bleep you up and bleep you, you bleep, I ain't gotta listen to you. One of my schools I was at, the kid called a lady a white B word. Said, blank you, you white B word. That's not profanity, people. See, this is what we don't get. We don't understand trauma. We also don't understand how to manage poverty. Poverty is not money. If you mismanage those, so say you have the wrong response to that, you just set yourself up for it to continuously happen again. What happens in trauma zones is so a kid does have a lot going on, but that's just not the way you manage trauma. And the kid has to know that, because what behavior programs are about is learning. Like, you got to learn what goes and what doesn't. And here's the deal. They won't talk to everybody like that. So that tells me they know who, why, and where. What I want to do, and I want to help you do, is learn how to manage behavior properly. You can get all the models you want. And see, this is what got going on. We're putting hundreds of millions of dollars in behavior theory, behavior models, right? We think we're helping, but you've got to know, am I helping? And remember the law of help. The law of help states, if the person doesn't see what I'm doing as help, I become an enabler. So if they don't think I'm helping them by restoring justice, talking about their wrongs, bringing it to the group, if they don't see it and they just see it as a measure of manipulation and to get around the system, and this is what I got to do to get through with this, you lost. That, friends, is what's going on all over the country. I am asking everybody to come to school with me. Let me break some things down for you. Let me show you. These are some behavior. I call them signs of poverty, but if you mismanage, man, I'm telling you, they're going to escalate. Street fighting. Okay. So what I have been consistent with saying, I've begged districts to shut fighting down. Like, you got to be like, that crap's got to get shut down from 7 to grade 12. It has to be, they don't like me to use the word zero tolerance. It has to be not a part of the culture. It has to be unacceptable conduct in your school culture, where people know, hey man, if you fight here, it's going to be to the highest level of consequence. It has to be a deterrent. You can't do that here. What's happening is we're getting kids that are getting 1 days and 3 days and getting to go to the circle, and they're on their 3rd and 4th fight, and we're going through all hell and back to get something done. Now they know I can fight at school. It's some of the toughest, violentest neighborhoods in the country. There is a clear, you can't fight here. And the penalty is real clear. Now, once again, all other stuff. See, when in the Senate bill in Illinois, the spirit of the bill was not to get somebody hurt. When they said, we want you to stop suspending, well, I read the same referrals they read. And what was happening in those referrals? We had people literally poking at kids, using bad discretion, and suspending kids for dozens of days because of attitude, sauce mouth, unproduction. That was not the spirit of the law. I know it. It was not to create an unsafe environment. But here it lies, the consequence of trying to correct or bring justice. So this is why I'm asking you, raise your IQ. When you see certain things, you know, I have to do something different. What are we talking about? Normalized profanity, zero respect for authority, defiance toward authority, social media in school, vaping, sexual misconduct, major right now, violence, aggression toward staff, pornography. They're getting on our server using the iCloud or whatever thing to send videos and pictures. No good, right? And then weapons. See, these are the behaviors. This is signs of poverty, but these are extreme student behaviors that are trending up. If you're having that at your building, this video series is for you. So this is the thing. And I know everybody's having vaping. I even had one elementary school that has a vape problem that is out of control. Elementary vape problem. What does that mean? You have to take different steps. I have to know what works in my community. I have to know how to stop the negative behavior that I skew. This is video 1. Please log on for our second video on this to continue this education process. I'm Dr. Jackson. I'll see you in video 2.